My granddaughter's midnight call. Grandma, please don't come. I discovered something incredible. The phone rang, shattering Grandma Clara's peaceful slumber. It was Sophie, her heart racing, her voice frantic. Grandma, please don't come. She cried. Desperation dripped from every word. I've discovered something incredible. Panic surged within Clara's chest as she sat up straight. The quiet of her worn-down home suddenly felt oppressive, shadows of her past struggles looming like thunderclouds. What is it, dear? She asked, unease chasing her thoughts. Sophie had always been a creative soul. Her sketches littered Clara's refrigerator like trophies. But Clara knew the weight of her granddaughter's reality too well. Sophie's mother was struggling, trying to make ends meet, and dreams were often suffocated by bills and judgment. Softly, Clara recalled her younger years. Years filled with the roar of factory machinery, vibrant with hopes for a better life for her family. Now here was Sophie, a bright light in their otherwise simmering existence. The urgency in her voice felt like a cry for help. What could this incredible discovery mean? What kind of trouble could she be in? Sophie, what is going on? Clara pressed, her voice trembling. I found out I can paint. And a gallery wants my work. Sophie exclaimed, her words rushing to fill the silence. Shock coursed through Clara. It was news that sent waves of pride and fear crashing against her heart. Art? A dream tucked away under generations of practicality? Clara's mind spun with images of critics' eyebrows raised, of neighbors whispering behind closed doors. What gallery, sweetie? Clara's hands clutched the phone tightly. The air felt thick, heavy with societal expectations. Nora's art space. They believe in me, Grandma. Sophie's excitement cut through Clara's fears. But why did it feel dangerous? The notion of pursuing art could promise validation, but it also threatened their world of stable, albeit unfulfilled, expectations. They want me to show my work next month, but I don't know if I should. The tension tightened, wrapping around Clara's chest. You have to be careful, Sophie. Community opinions can be harsh, she said, a tremor in her voice. Art isn't secure. What if? Grandma. Please. Sophie interrupted. I don't want to be boxed in like we always are. I want to try. I need your support. Tears brimming in her eyes, Clara felt the walls of her own fears close in. She wanted to guard her granddaughter, to protect her from judgment and cruelty, but in doing so, would she shatter Sophie's dreams? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The silence hung heavy, the air alive with uncertainty. Sophie's words rang like a clarion call, bold, raw. Clara felt the swell of hope battling her fears. You can do this, but it's going to take courage. Stand up for yourself, even if it means going against our family's history. Sophie's breaths echoed through the phone, a mix of awe and fear. What if I fail? She asked, real vulnerability piercing her voice. Then you try again, Clara replied, a new firmness filling her words. You deserve your own path, your own voice. And there, in that moment filled with urgency and trembling hope, they teetered on the brink of something monumental. Sophie faced a choice that could light a path toward her dreams, or pull her back into a life steeped in unfulfilled potential. Clara realized it was time to break the cycle. Would Sophie embrace the artist within, or would the weight of family expectations prove too heavy to bear? Clara's heart raced as she braced for her granddaughter's answer, holding her breath within the silence. Clara felt her pulse quickening, the silence stretching like a taut string between them. Sophie? She whispered, trying to steady her nerves. Her granddaughter's uncertainty echoed in the stillness of the night, pulling Clara deeper into her memories of lost chances and unfulfilled dreams. I don't know if I can do it, Sophie finally whispered back, her voice trembling, laden with fear. What if they laugh at me? What if my paintings are just bad? Clara's heart ached. She wanted to reach through the phone, wrap her arms around Sophie, and whisper every lesson she had learned about strength and resilience. Sweetheart, every artist faces doubt. It's part of the journey. You have something special. You just need to believe in yourself. But we've always been practical, Grandma. What if I end up just like Mom, stuck in a job that doesn't make her happy? There was a catch in Sophie's voice. It echoed Clara's own fears, a painful reminder of the cycle that bound their family. You're not your mother, Sophie, Clara asserted firmly, clenching her fists to ward off the creeping anxiety. You have a chance to be different. To live freely. Break our family's mold. You might find joy and success in a way we never could. There was a long pause, filled with unshed tears and silent airwaves buzzing with possibility. Will you come to see my first show if I go ahead with it? Sophie's voice was softer now, laced with hope. Yes. Absolutely. Clara exclaimed. The words spilled from her mouth like a soft promise. The idea of her granddaughter standing tall in a gallery made Clara's heart swell. What if I fall short and it ruins everything? Sophie's question hung in the air, a thick mist of worry. Clara imagined the myriad of ways adults could weigh down a child's heart with fear. What if I never paint again? Then you fall, and I'll be right there to pick you up, Clara said, her voice steady and rich with love. But I have a feeling this is just the beginning for you. Just promise to keep painting, no matter the outcome. Sophie inhaled sharply, as if a wave of resolve was washing over her. Okay, Grandma. I will. Clara's heart lifted. It wasn't just a promise, it felt like a turning point. The conversation shifted as Clara felt the weight begin to lift. They spoke of colors and canvases, inspirations that sparked joy. Clara could visualize Sophie in the art studio, the sunlight spilling through large windows, illuminating her next masterpiece. But just as quickly, the shadows returned. Clara's thoughts darted back to the judgment she had faced years ago, neighbors whispering, colleagues casting sideways glances. It was a difficult conversation submerged in societal expectations, and it troubled her deeply. What if people don't support you? She asked tentatively, foreboding creeping back in. Then I'll find those who do, Sophie replied, determination sparking in her voice. I won't let fear stop me. I need to do this, I have to. A soft smile crossed Clara's lips as pride began to replace concern. That's my girl. Just remember, it's about what you feel, not what they think. As they hung up, a warmth spread through Clara's chest. It was a flicker of hope igniting within the weight of her worries. Yet, despite the glow, a question lingered in her mind. Could she truly support Sophie when the time came? Would she stand strong against the expectations of their family and community when judgment loomed nearby? The clock ticked away the moments, the reality of the upcoming gallery show edging closer. Clara knew she had a choice to make, one that could reshape their roots of practicality and fear. The phone buzzed in her hand, and she glanced down at a text from Sophie. I'll keep you posted, Grandma. I can't wait to show you. Clara took a deep breath. How could she help Sophie believe in her talent? What if she spent her next few weeks not only encouraging Sophie but rediscovering art herself? As the world outside continued to darken, Clara felt a burning question rise within her. What if this was not only a new beginning for Sophie but for her too? Could she find the courage to embrace creativity in her own life? With that thought, she curled her fingers around a paintbrush she hadn't touched in years. Would this be the moment they both took flight? She glanced at the empty canvas waiting in her studio, the possibilities swirling like bright paint on a palette. Clara stared at the blank canvas, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The paintbrush felt foreign between her fingers, yet it also buzzed with the energy of memories long buried. She had once been a woman of vibrant colors, pouring her essence onto canvas, creating pieces that spoke what words could not. But time had a way of muting the brightest of ambitions, didn't it? With a deep breath, she dipped the brush into a pot of blue, the hue reminiscent of the sky on a late spring afternoon. Each stroke felt liberating, like a weight lifting off her shoulders. She could almost hear Sophie's laughter, the way it danced through their shared moments. As she painted, Clara allowed herself to dream of the day when Sophie would proudly showcase her work. But those dreams were tethered to doubts. The ghost of her own fears lingered behind every stroke. What if she failed? What if she poured her heart out onto that canvas and it fell flat? Would Sophie see that as an echo of the disappointments Clara had faced? Clara shook her head, trying to clear the clouds of uncertainty. No, she wouldn't let fear snatch away this moment. She was determined to be a source of strength for Sophie, just as she hoped to be for herself. With renewed vigor, she tightened her grip on the brush and moved it across the canvas, blending colors, creating shapes a small world unfolding. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, jolting her from her artistic trance. It was Sophie, and her heart quickened at the thought of what news might follow. Grandma. Sophie's voice crackled through the speaker, urgency threading through her words. You'll never believe what I found. What is it, sweetheart? Clara asked, curiosity piquing. I was cleaning the attic and came across an old portfolio of your paintings. You painted all these incredible things, Grandma. I didn't know you were so talented. Clara felt a rush of warmth and embarrassment wash over her. She hadn't realized those remnants of her past would be so easily unearthed. Oh, those are just old things, she replied softly, a mixture of pride and shame enveloping her words. No. You need to see them. They're beautiful. Sophie insisted, her voice unwavering. You have to show them again. You can inspire people like you inspire me. Clara's chest tightened, tangled feelings bubbling to the surface. The idea of standing in front of a gallery, sharing her art again felt daunting. Honey, I'm not sure I'm ready for that. It's been so long. Then we'll do it together. If I can have my show, why can't you have yours? Imagine us side by side. Sophie's enthusiasm was infectious, igniting the embers in Clara's heart. Clara could envision it, her granddaughter, vibrant and alive, while she stood beside her, painting again under the watchful eyes of friends and family who might resist accepting her. A chilling thought crept in. What if they laughed? What if her past failures haunted her? But what if people think I'm just an old fool trying to relive her glory days? Clara's voice trembled slightly. Sophie blurted, then who cares? We're doing this, Grandma. For ourselves. You taught me to be brave, right? This is about celebrating who we are. In that moment, a profound realization washed over Clara. It wasn't solely about her art, it was about reconnecting with herself to shed the weight of expectations and be unafraid to express her truth. Maybe embracing creativity would fortify not just her own spirit but Sophie's as well. What if I'm afraid I won't be good enough? Clara finally admitted, vulnerability spilling out. Then we'll do it together, I promise. We'll hold each other's hands through the whole thing. Sophie's voice sparkled with certainty. Clara chuckled, wiping an unexpected tear from the corner of her eye. Okay, let us do this, then. Let us inspire each other. As they finalized their pact, Clara felt lighter, freed from the confines of the past. A delicate bond tethered them, one born not of obligation but hope and discovery. The walls of fear began to crumble, and amidst the uncertainty, an unfiltered exhilaration floated in the air between them. Yet, an echoing thought followed her, a whisper of hesitation. What if stepping into this new light meant illuminating the shadows of the past? Would they both be prepared for whatever truths lay hidden in those attic corners? With one last glance at the canvas, imagining it filled with the vibrancy of both their journeys, Clara felt a fluttering in her chest. The next brushstroke would be hers to claim. Would it ignite their dreams or unearth buried fears? Clara set the brush down and stepped back from the canvas, the wild blue tones swirling together, mirroring her tumultuous feelings. She felt lightness mixed with the weight of impending revelations. The idea of stepping into the gallery felt like a dream, one she had stamped out with practicality and years of silence. But Sophie's words echoed. They surged inside her, igniting a fire she thought was snuffed out. Together. We'll do this together, she whispered to herself, a mantra to bolster her resolve. As she drifted through her thoughts, Clara felt excitement flicker like a candle within her. Then, suddenly, the phone buzzed again, jolting her. Sophie's name lit up the screen, and a curious smile crept across Clara's lips. Her granddaughter had always known how to awaken her spirit, but now, something felt different. Hello? Clara answered, not fully prepared for the intensity in Sophie's voice. Grandma. The urgency emanating through the phone was like a jolt of electricity. I found something incredible in your old portfolio. You need to see it, but I have to warn you. Warn me? What do you mean? Clara's heart dropped slightly, a creeping unease settling in. It's about some of the paintings. I think there is something more to them, something you don't even remember. More? What could possibly be more than the echo of her past? Clara took a breath, feeling a knot form in her stomach. Sophie, I don't understand. What do you mean? Sophie paused, and Clara swore she could hear her racing heart on the other end. There are symbols and oh. Just come over. I need you here to help piece this together. It's important. Okay. I'll be right there, Clara replied, adrenaline now thrumming through her. She grabbed her jacket, the paint-stained sleeves fluttering as she rushed out. The door creaked beneath her, but instead of its usual groan, it felt like an invitation to a new adventure. The drive felt surreal, a blur of colors whizzing by. Clara's mind was racing, each stoplight a moment to reflect on what Sophie might have uncovered. What could her paintings possibly hold? Hidden meanings? Unseen truths? Her chest tightened at the thought. When she finally arrived, the familiar, cozy scent of home wrapped around her like a warm hug. Sophie was waiting at the door, her eyes shining with excitement, framing a brilliant smile that seemed to diffuse Clara's doubt. Grandma. She beamed, leading her inside. You won't believe it. Come on. I took a photo of one of the paintings. As they settled in the living room, Sophie quickly waved her phone. Look. The image flickered to life, revealing a piece Clara had almost forgotten, an abstract canvas full of swirling colors and stark contrasts. But it was the hidden details that caught Clara off guard. Do you see that? Sophie pointed to a faint pattern layered beneath the paint. Symbols that seemed strangely familiar, yet foreign. Clara's breath caught in her throat. What is that? Why didn't I ever notice? Clara's voice trembled, fear bubbling alongside curiosity. I have no idea. Sophie said with breathless enthusiasm. But I think there's a story here, something from your past. Something you may have wanted to hide. Clara's mind raced. Could her forgotten past collide with her present? As she traced the patterns with her fingers on the screen, a shiver ran down her spine. That a knock interrupted their moment, and Clara tensed. Who? Before she could finish her sentence, the door swung open to reveal a familiar face, a man from her distant past, someone she hadn't seen in over 30 years. Just the sight of him sent waves of memories rushing back, crashing like a storm in her heart. Clara, he began, uncertainty etched across his features. We need to talk. Clara's heart raced, a tumult of emotions spiraling inside her: fear, joy, confusion. She looked from the stranger to the painting that seemed to hold secrets of both her past and present. What had Sophie unearthed? And what truths would this unexpected reunion bring to light? Something inside Clara shifted. She knew, deep down, that this moment was just the beginning, and that their intertwined fates were destined to reveal a reality she had been too afraid to face. Would it finally set her free? Clara's pulse thrummed loudly in her ears as she stared at the man standing in her doorway. His features were older, softened by time, but his eyes still sparkled with the same intensity that once lit up her world. Daniel. Her heart swayed between yearning and trepidation, a pendulum of emotions threatening to hollow her out. Daniel, she finally managed to whisper, the name heavy with unspoken history. Can we talk inside? He asked, glancing at Sophie, who stood transfixed, caught between excitement and the weight of the moment. Of course, Clara replied, stepping aside. The air in the room felt charged, heavy with the weight of years unspent and regrets unvoiced. Sophie seemed to sense the gravity, quietly retreating to a corner of the room, her phone forgotten in her hand. Clara watched as Daniel crossed the threshold, his presence filling the small space with a warmth that ignited old feelings. Her lungs struggled to draw breath, flooded with nostalgia. The soft taps of the rain on the window matched the rhythm of her heartbeat. Why now? Clara asked, looking directly into his eyes. After all these years, what brings you back? I've thought about you every day, he admitted, stepping closer. I found something that made me reach out, something that made me realize the past isn't as buried as I thought. Clara's mind reeled. She felt like a ship lost at sea in a storm, torn between waves of anger and fragments of love. What do you mean? What did you find? Daniel took a deep breath, his eyes flickering to the painting still displayed prominently in the living room. I came across some of your old work. My daughter, she's studying art history, and I gave her your portfolio. It sparked something. A story I thought never existed. What kind of story? Clara's voice was barely above a whisper, yet each word was laced with an urgency that grew with every moment. She glanced at Sophie, who was grappling with the implications of this unexpected visitor. The symbols in your work, Daniel said slowly. They connect more than you might realize. They're tied to our shared past, Clara. What we created together. Suddenly, the door to Clara's memories flung open wider, and she felt something dark but familiar creeping in. You think I don't remember? She shot back, her emotions spiraling. I buried it all. I thought it was for the best. Daniel's expression softened. We both did, didn't we? We thought moving on meant forgetting. But we were wrong, Clara. Those symbols, each stroke of your brush, it tells our story, our choices. And I believe if we face it together, we can finally understand what happened. The room seemed to shrink, the silence enveloping them, filled with the weight of his words. Clara scanned Sophie's bewildered expression, her granddaughter caught between understanding and confusion. What should we do? Sophie finally asked, breaking the tension, her youthful curiosity sparking a flicker of hope in Clara. Clara stood frozen, the past clawing at her mind, fighting with every ounce of silence she had created. But deep down, dread wrestled with longing. Maybe this was the moment to unravel everything. I don't know, Clara admitted, her voice trembling. But I think we need to take a closer look at what Sophie discovered. I need to remember. Daniel nodded, his expression a mixture of resolve and vulnerability. You don't have to do this alone, Clara. We can face it together. Let us uncover the truth you buried. Clara felt the floodgates begin to crack, a wave of emotions threatening to break free. Just then, a deafening clap of thunder echoed outside, shaking the room. Clara's heart raced. What would surface in the storm? Would she truly be ready for the revelations waiting in the shadows? As the rain intensified, so did her fear that some doors were meant to remain closed at that moment. The reality of the past merged with the uncertainty of the present, and Clara knew that whatever lay ahead could either bind them together or tear them apart. As she stood on the precipice of a choice, one question clung to her heart: was she brave enough to confront the truth, whatever it may be? The rain hammered against the glass, a fierce crescendo that matched the tumult in Clara's heart. Daniel stood close, his presence both comforting and unsettling, an anchor in a storm she didn't want to weather. Sophie remained in the corner, her wide eyes moving from Clara to Daniel, sensing the unresolved tension swirling around them. I need to know what you found, Clara said, her voice steady despite her internal quaking. What exactly did Sophie discover linked to my art? Daniel exchanged a glance with Sophie, then took a breath that seemed to draw the very air from the room. It's not just the symbols. It's everything. Your paintings, they carry more than just beauty. They carry stories, our stories. It may connect to something deeper than we ever acknowledged. Clara felt her stomach twist. Memories she thought long buried threatened to resurface, woven into the very fabric of her canvas. What do you mean? Are you saying it's about us? About our lives? Sophie shifted, stepping forward, curiosity piquing her young mind. Grandma, I didn't realize how much your artwork could tell about your history. I thought they were just pretty pictures. Daniel interrupted gently, but they're not just that, Sophie. Each piece is a reflection of Clara's feelings at that time: joy, sorrow, regret. There's a reason why she expressed what she did. The symbols, they're a roadmap to understanding her past. Clara swallowed hard, the weight of unexamined truths pressing down on her chest. You both don't understand. I've spent years trying to move past all of it. Revisiting that pain, I thought it would ruin everything I built. It doesn't have to ruin anything, Daniel countered, his voice calm but firm. Facing the past might just be the way to embrace the future. And you're not alone in this, Clara. His eyes held her gaze with a plea she hadn't expected from him. Remember when we painted together? It was the raw moments that shaped us, our connection. I believe it can still hold power if we harness it right. Clara felt a spark of something, hope perhaps. Or was it fear? But, what if I remember things I don't want to face? What if this unearths more pain than healing? Sophie glanced between them, her youthful enthusiasm shining through the tension. But Grandma, she said, her voice hopeful, you've always told me that art can heal. Maybe this is the moment to prove it together. Thunder rolled outside once again, a fierce reminder of the storm raging around them, and yet Clara felt an unexpected calm begin to settle over the chaos in her mind. You think exploring my past through my art can help? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes. Sophie exclaimed. I think it can show us who you were, who you are now, and maybe even why the past still matters. Just like my art history class, it's all about understanding context. Daniel smiled, as if he had been waiting for the shift in Clara's resolve. Let us start by looking at your paintings, one by one. We can uncover what each piece was trying to say. You don't have to dive deeper than you're ready for, but we can take it slow. Clara nodded, her heart thumping in cautious optimism. Maybe facing the storm wasn't the most terrifying thing she could do. Perhaps it was a path leading to understanding, opening doors to healing and connection with the two people she cared about most. As they gathered around her paintings, Clara took a deep breath. What would each stroke reveal? Would it confirm the stories she'd long hidden, or would it open new doors she hadn't even considered? Just then, another crash of lightning illuminated the room and Sophie gasped. Oh! Look! There's one painting that's glowing with light. It's like it's calling to us. Clara leaned in closer, a shiver running down her spine. What was hidden within its hues? As she reached for it, a flood of trepidation washed over her. Was this revelation the key to unlocking their past, or was it a trap? In that moment, she realized the next question awaited her. Could the brightness of her art lead them to the shadows she so willingly avoided? Clara's fingers trembled as they hovered over the surface of the painting. The colors leaped out at her, vibrant and alive, almost as if the canvas held its breath in anticipation. This piece, a wild explosion of oranges and blues, had always felt different. But she had kept it tucked away, hidden from view, afraid of what it might reveal. What is it, Grandma? Sophie's excitement was palpable, her wide eyes reflecting the flickering light. Daniel stepped closer, his breath, a whisper behind Clara, urging her to unveil the truth. I don't know if I'm ready, Clara murmured. Her heart raced in her chest like a caged bird fighting for freedom. Yes, you are. Sophie encouraged. You've always said art is about honesty. Now's the time to be honest with yourself. Clara took a deep breath, the weight of the moment crashing down like the rain outside. She felt a rush of warmth flood through her, an echo of the wonder she had felt as a young artist brimming with unfiltered emotion. It was time to peel back the layers, to see what lay beneath. As she touched the canvas, her memories pushed to the surface like waves in a storm. This painting was born during a chaotic time in her life, a period filled with regret and confusion. Colors collided on the canvas, reflecting her turmoil. The orange resembled the fire of anger and the blue, the cold reality of loneliness. A shocking mix, yet undeniably beautiful. "What do you see?" Daniel's voice interrupted, pulling her from the depths of her thoughts. Clara focused on the swirling colors, and a memory immediately surfaced. It was of past heartbreak, loss mingled with fleeting moments of joy. It was during the summer when I lost my sister. The brightness was me trying to fight through the pain. Sophie's face softened as she absorbed Clara's words. "So, it's like a secret history, something you've locked away?" "Yes," Clara admitted, her voice cracking. "Each painting is a chapter, a way to express what happened. I guess I just didn't want to revisit those chapters." "Not all stories end badly," Daniel reminded her, his tone warm like the colors they were examining. "Some can help us heal." Clara nodded, feeling a flicker of understanding. "I wanted to shield you both from those shadows. I thought it was for the best." "I think we could all learn something from each other," Sophie replied. "Like a family history lesson, but through art." Daniel leaned in, interest igniting in his smile. "Let us keep going." "What about this one?" He pointed to a serene landscape painted in calming greens and whites. Clara had always thought of it as a tranquil escape, away from the storm inside her. "This was painted when I met your grandfather," she said, letting out a soft laugh. Love bursting through the chaos. "I didn't realize how profound the contrast was, though." Sophie tilted her head. "Do you know why you chose those colors?" "I think I was yearning for peace. For happiness." In that moment, Clara felt lighter, the clouds beginning to part. Perhaps this painting is an achievement too. A reminder that beauty can arise even from pain. Daniel's hand touched Clara's shoulder, a gesture of support and camaraderie. "Exactly. The sun doesn't just shine for one person. It's for everyone who's willing to see it." Just then, light flickered through the window, painting them in a brief, golden glow, a fleeting hint of warmth amidst the storm. Clara's heart raced. Was this breakthrough the first step toward healing? Or was she merely skimming the surface of something much deeper? "There's still a lot to explore," Clara said, a sense of determination blooming inside her. "What about the next painting?" As she reached for another piece, hope and fear intertwined. Would the journey unravel what had been so cleverly hidden? What if dark secrets lay within the brushstrokes, waiting to be uncovered? "Hold on, Grandma," Sophie said, suddenly serious. "What if the paint tells stories we're not ready to hear?" Clara hesitated, the question echoing through her mind like a distant thunderclap. Could their quest for truth illuminate the darkness? Or would it plunge them into even deeper shadows? Clara paused, her breathing suddenly feeling heavier. Sophie's words hung in the air, tinged with a mix of caution and curiosity. The atmosphere shifted around them, it felt charged, almost electric. She glanced at the next painting, its canvas looming with unexpressed stories, the colors swirling like a teapot about to boil. "What do you mean, Sophie?" Clara asked, her voice steadying in a river of uncertainty. Sophie's gaze was unwavering. "What if that painting holds something we can't handle?" "Not all truths feel like sunshine, Grandma." Daniel stepped back, a frown crossing his face. "You're not saying we shouldn't look, are you?" "No, of course not," Sophie said quickly. I feel like there's more behind all of this. It's like opening a door to a room we forgot existed. What if it's dark? What if it's scary?" Clara felt the weight of her granddaughter's concern settle deep within her heart. She had tried so hard to protect them from her past, but it wasn't just shadows that lay in those colors. It was also a way back to understanding their present. "I appreciate your concern, Soph," she said softly. "But sometimes we have to confront the darkness to find our light. This is a journey for all of us." Sophie nodded, her features relaxing but still laced with uncertainty. Let us see what this next painting holds. Clara reached out, brushing her fingers across the edges of the canvas. The colors were darker this time, deep purples contrasted with bruised grays, an unsettling mix that sent a shiver up her spine. As she lifted the painting, memories flooded back like a storm breaking loose. It was painted during a time of loss, not just of her sister, but of herself in the whirlwind of grief that had swept her away. She could practically hear the echoes of arguments and silent tears from nights spent grappling with everything she couldn't say. What is it? Daniel leaned in, eyes narrowing with keen interest. Clara cleared her throat, the lump deepening inside her. This was after my sister's funeral. I didn't know how to make sense of it all. It felt like I was in a storm I couldn't escape. The silence in the room thickened, wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. I've never shared this part with anyone, Clara admitted. I held on to the colors hoping to make sense of my pain. But maybe, I buried more than just my grief. I was burying parts of my joy, too. Sophie stepped closer, her lens of innocence softening Clara's heart. But you got through it, right? You painted the beauty that still found its way after? Clara nodded, her eyes welling with tears. Yes, I did. But it took me a long time to understand that the beauty could exist alongside the sadness. Can it be both? Daniel asked quietly, looking between the canvas and Clara. Can it hurt and heal at the same time? Clara felt a rush of hope spark inside her chest. Absolutely. It can be a journey of transformation, and each painting is like a piece of that journey. Maybe we need to see this one for what it is, a testament to resilience. Sophie smiled, the tension breaking like waves crashing against a sturdy shore. Then let us face it together. As Clara hung the piece on the wall, the trio mixed hope with trepidation. The darkness waited, just on the other side of the vibrant colors. What if we uncover something that changes everything? Clara whispered, shaking slightly but feeling an unexpected thrill of courage. Then we'll face it, Daniel said, a solid promise in his tone. With a deep breath, Clara stepped back, let the warmth of her family fill the room, and turned to face the canvas. Muffled echoes of her past felt more like whispers, urging her onward, but beneath that surface layer of resolution, another thought crept in. What other secrets lingered among the strokes of vibrant paint? What if the next revelation was something none of them could predict? All right, let us see what this one reveals, Clara said, feeling her heart beat top of her throat, but deep down, she knew things were only getting started. The mysteries lay waiting, and somewhere in her mind, shadows danced. Whispering questions that may lead them into deeper waters than they had anticipated. What lurked behind the colors waiting to unveil itself? Clara's heart thudded in her chest as she stared at the canvas before her. The vibrant colors seemed to pulse, almost alive, inviting yet intimidating. Sophie and Daniel stood close, sharing a glance that spoke volumes, a mixture of excitement and worry. What lay hidden inside this next piece could change everything. With a gentle hand, Clara brushed the surface of the painting again, feeling the textured strokes beneath her fingers. It felt like touching her own story. The darker shades melted into deeper hues, creating an image that was both familiar and haunting. She took a breath, summoning the courage buried deep within her. This one is. Clara paused, searching for the right words, about hope and despair. It speaks to that fragile balance. Like a dance? Sophie suggested, tilting her head as she studied the painting. Clara's eyes flickered towards her granddaughter. Exactly. Just like life, sometimes it feels like we're moving to an unknown rhythm. Daniel stepped closer, eyes wide with curiosity. What happened during the creation of this piece? It feels heavy. The room seemed to hold its breath as Clara contemplated the memories swirling around her thoughts. It was a time when the weight of the world pressed down hard, nearly suffocating her. I was fighting to find light after the storm. It was hard to see anything beautiful amidst the pain. But you did, Sophie said, her voice confident now. You made something beautiful. Clara nodded slowly. It took years to discover that beauty can come from the darkest places. She leaned in. Art has a way of revealing truths we sometimes miss. It shows us parts of ourselves we need to confront. With her heart racing, Clara turned her attention back to the painting. As the light shifted across the room, shadows emerged, revealing hidden details, figures barely discernible, but filled with emotion. Clara gasped when she recognized familiar faces, smiles faded by time. Is that Grandma? Daniel's voice cut through her thoughts. What's wrong? She took a step back, heart pounding. I see them. Who? Sophie asked, stepping forward, a frown crossing her face. Family members lost, friends, their faces are here. Clara's voice shook. I've painted them without realizing it. I buried them deep within me and didn't know until now. The weight of those lost connections flooded back. The laughter, the memories, every moment she thought she had stored away. It feels like they're reaching out, she whispered, tears threatening to spill over. What do you think they're trying to say? Daniel asked, concern etching his features. Clara wiped her eyes, fighting the swell of emotions. Maybe they want me to remember. To embrace both the joy and the pain of losing them. They're a part of my journey. Grandma, that's amazing. Sophie stood, eyes shining with understanding, her own heart sympathetic to Clara's pain. They're reminding you of the love that still exists. As Clara absorbed the warmth of her family's support, a gentle sensation washed over her. It was unexpected yet familiar, the feeling of being connected to the past in a way that could transform her future. Just then, something shifted within the painting. A new color emerged from the shadows, vibrant and bright, igniting it with life. Clara felt her breath hitch. The hues began to swirl, forming images she had never intended to paint. It was a reflection of hope, of renewal, intertwined with the darker memories. What's happening? Daniel muttered, pulling back slightly. I don't know, Clara said, mesmerized. But it's like the painting is alive, telling its own story. The air thickened again with uncertainty. What was she about to uncover? Before she could consider anything further, Clara's phone buzzed on the table across the room, sharp and jarring against the charged atmosphere. She exchanged a glance with Sophie, who grabbed it before Clara even had the chance to move. Grandma, it's my mom. She said she discovered something incredible. Sophie's excitement clashed with Clara's apprehension. What does that mean? Clara barely whispered, anxiety coiling in her stomach. Sophie's eyes widened. God, I don't know, but let us find out. As they gathered around, the room pulsed with a mixture of dread and hope, emotions swirling just like the painting on the wall. Clara's heart raced. What had her daughter stumbled upon? Was it another piece of their intertwined story, or something even more profound? Let us see. Clara breathed out, fear and anticipation bubbling in her chest, as they leaned over Sophie's phone, unsure of what revelations awaited them just a tap away. Sophie pressed her thumb against the screen, the anticipation thick as fog enveloping them. The message from her mom flickered brightly, bearing the weight of something monumental. Mom, I found out something amazing about Grandma's family history. Something that might change how we see everything. Clara felt the world tilt slightly, as if the very foundation beneath her feet was shifting. What do you mean, sweetheart? She asked, hardly able to contain the rush of emotions coursing through her. Sophie's eyes gleamed with a mix of excitement and trepidation as she read aloud. There are stories in our ancestry, creative, brave women who were artists just like you. They faced challenges, pursued their passions amidst doubts. It's a heritage bursting with artistry. Clara's heart pounded in her chest. Each word felt like a key unlocking a hidden room. She glanced at Daniel and Sophie, each equally awed, processing the weight of this revelation. Then, it's not just me who's held back our family's creativity, Clara murmured, realizing. It's something we've all internalized, a fear that echoed through generations. Exactly. Sophie exclaimed, her voice bubbling over with enthusiasm. And now we can change that narrative. You can redefine what it means to be an artist in our family, Grandma. With those words, a light broke through Clara's dark clouds of doubt. Could this truly be a turning point? My family didn't just struggle, they fought to express themselves. Clara's mind raced back to each stroke of her brush, the passions she had suppressed out of fear. But now, here was Sophie, her fearless spirit shining like the brightest star. If they embraced their creativity, I can too. We can create anew together. Suddenly, the storm outside eased into a lull, the rain tapping gently against the window as if it too welcomed this new beginning. They exchanged glances, a flood of determination swirling between them. It was time to peel back those layers, confront the shadows, and honor their roots. I've been blind, Clara admitted, emotions swelling. For so long, I thought I was protecting you both from my past, but what I was really doing was keeping our light dimmed. Daniel leaned closer, gentle but grounded. Clara, every family has a story, a legacy. And sometimes it takes courage to face what's been buried deep. But you don't have to do it alone. Sophie wrapped her arms around Clara, her embrace a warm reminder of the love that transcended generations. Just think of the gallery show. When you finally share your art, our art at LL be a celebration of everything we've overcome. Clara squeezed back tightly, a renewed energy igniting within her. It's time to break free. Each painting will be a chapter of who we are, who we've always been. No more hiding. Let us paint our journey with color, light, and honesty. With that conviction, they gathered around her art, and Clara felt the emotions swell. They didn't just stand before pieces of canvas, they faced mirrors reflecting their shared story, a testimony of struggle, creativity, and the fierce spirit inherited from the women who came before. As Clara picked up the brush again, the once blank canvas transformed into a world bursting with potential. The vivid colors jumped to life, entwining their narratives, each brushstroke merging past and present. She felt Daniel and Sophie support her from behind, steady and resolute. In every line, Clara said, dipping her brush into a brilliant yellow before adding it to the swirling chaos of emotions displayed before her, there's joy. Then she flicked in a sharp blue, highlighting a corner, and in every shadow, there's depth. The three of them worked together under the glow of late evening light, laughter and urgency swirling in the room, fueling their shared destiny. As they created, they healed not just Clara, but all of them. When they finally stepped back, the painting wasn't just a riot of colors. It was a tapestry of transformation, it was connection, family, history reborn. It was everything. They were together. Tears slipped down Clara's cheeks, not from sadness but from overwhelming joy and pride. With a radiant smile, she turned to her granddaughter and Daniel, illuminated by the knowledge that they would face whatever lay ahead together. It's beautiful, Clara breathed, the shadows receding as light filled the room. And it's just the beginning. In that moment, the storm outside faded to whispers, giving way to the dawn of new possibilities. They had unearthed not just a connection with the past, but also a brighter future. As they gathered for a group hug, Clara whispered her promise. We will honor our legacy and pave new paths for future generations. We'll share our story with the world. Art is truth. And this truth we'll paint with love. Time and again, the brush made contact with the canvas, each stroke a release, a reclamation. They wouldn't fret over judgment anymore. Instead, they would invite pleasure, pain, and everything in between. Unencumbered, the journey ahead was brighter than any storm. As they stood in that room, now filled with colors and laughter, they all understood, this was truly the moment where they began anew. Don't miss another moment like this. You need to subscribe now to catch stories like Clara and Sophie's journey and more empowering transformations. Hit that like button now. You hold the power to help share these heartwarming tales with others. Comment below your thoughts on Clara's incredible journey. What have you discovered about your own family history, and share this video without delay. Send it to at least 5 friends who need to embrace their creative paths. Don't wait not even one more second.